Calaroga Shark Media.
Did April not just start? How is it the 22nd already? It's almost May. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Dave Chappelle has been added to the Abu Dhabi Comedy Week. He'll be at the Etihad Arena May 23rd if you want to attend. It's his first show in the capital, although he has previously played Dubai. Back in 2018, after he played Dubai, the local paper wrote, "Well-tested material is presented as first-time observations, as Chappelle languidly guided us into the issues that both amuse and concern him. But behind that casual banter is a supreme technician, a confident comic, knowing when to cut through the laughs with sharp observations and when to provide levity with some good old-fashioned toilet humor." Now, Abu Dhabi Comedy Week is no joke. Listen to who else is playing. Chris Tucker, May 25th. Andrew Schultz on the 22nd. The not-so-canceled Aziz Ansari on the 18th. Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee, joint show on the 21st. Bassem Youssef and Maz Jobrani, a joint show on the 24th. Tom Segura on the 25th. And on May 26th, it's Joe Coy. You know Joe Coy. One time he hosted the Golden Globes. Meanwhile, the Legion of... I didn't do it. You thought I was going to do it. The Legion of Skanks Festival, also no joke. This one will be September 27th to the 29th in Vegas. But listen to this lineup, the 8th annual SkankFest. Headliners, Big J. Oakerson, Louis J. Gomez, Dave Smith, Ari Shafir, Shane Gillis, Tim Dillon, Dave Attell, Tony Hinchcliffe, Mark Normand. But the lineup includes so many people that I won't be able to read them all. I'll read some. Aaron Berg, Adrian Appilucci, Beth Stelling, Bonnie McFarlane, Brian Redban, Chris Kattan, Craig Gass, Dan Cummins, Dan Soder, Dan St. Germain, Dina Hashem. Again, I'm reading about a third of the names here. Eddie Pepitone, Eric Griffin, Esther Steinberg. Haven't heard her name in a while. She's good. Jermaine Fowler, Jim Norton didn't make the headliner list. Joe DeRosa, Joe List, Keith Robinson, Kurt Metzger, Morgan Murphy, Nick Vatterott, a very underrated comic. Rachel Feinstein, Rich Voss, Bobby Kelly, Sam J., Sean Patton, Steve Ranazizi, TJ Miller, Giannis Pappas, Yamanika Saunders. I mean, come on. Huge. Also out of New Orleans, Emma Willman will headline the 3rd annual LGBT LOL Queer Comedy Fest. I like that, LGBT LOL. I am scanning the names here to see, unless you're like super into comedy, I don't think you would recognize any of these names, but it looks like about 20 comedians there. That's good. Brad Williams says NBA star Blake Griffin could easily go from the NBA to jokes now that Blake Griffin has retired. Brad Williams told TMZ Sports he saw Blake Griffin do comedy in Montreal, and he's good, and I hate that because you can't be good at everything. Williams says Blake's got great material to work with, too. He was a former NBAer, obviously, and also an ex of a Kardashian. The Stranger spoke to Logan Gunselman. I liked their setup here. This is what caught my attention. Logan Gunselman is the anti-Jim Carrey, the polar opposite of Robin Williams. She does not manically gesticulate, does not contort her face, and she eschews impressions. Rather, she delivers jokes, sometimes quite dirty jokes, in a deep voice, a deadpan, and a poker face. They asked Logan about it, and she said, "Honestly, I didn't know I was deadpan for a very long time. I thought I was performing like most stand-ups, using inflection and changing my tone of voice, but I kept getting compliments on my deadpan style of delivery. At first, I was frustrated because it wasn't on purpose. I'm just kind of a monotone woman, but the longer I've done stand-up, the more I've come to appreciate it." Logan says, "I rarely talk about current events or politics, not because I think they're taboo. I'm just dumb. I'm impressed by stand-ups that can craft good jokes about the news, but that's not how my brain works. I don't think any subject is taboo as long as the joke is really incredible. Most comedians who get in trouble for their problematic jokes aren't in trouble because they made a joke. They're in trouble because the joke they made isn't funny. So audiences are only focusing on the offensive parts of what they've heard. People will forgive a lot if it's a truly excellent bit." That makes me think of Jimmy Carr again. Some people don't seem to get what Jimmy Carr does. They asked her what comedian has been the most inspirational and influential for you. Now, given the delivery, I would think, I don't know, Stephen Wright or Mitch Hedberg, perhaps Dimitri Martin. Logan said, "I know he's huge now, but I've always loved Nate Bargatze because he's also a deadpan, lower energy comedian." Yeah, I guess he is. "I love a bunch of comedians who are very different from me, but I'm always impressed by how good they are. Kyle Kinane, Lisa Traeger, Chris Estrada, Dave Waite, Chris Fairbanks, and honestly, Cat Williams." Good article on Vulture about how long jokes are good. Jesse David Fox specifically called out the Kyle Kinane 15 minutes about Fast and the Furious movies that I think is an all-timer. Jesse writes, Kyle, when a brief lull sets in at the Minneapolis Acme Comedy Club, the raucous laughter of the crowd's reaction to the F7 bit has gradually subsided, giving Kinane a moment to take a beat before saying, I'm just here to tell you one story. At this point, 25 minutes have passed in dirt nap. The setup is humble. Kinane, ever Midwestern, is a humble guy, making one of the most ridiculous undersells in stand-up history.
Gossip Corner.
And on Gossip Corner, Pete Davidson and girlfriend Madeline Klein are very much in love, says Us Magazine. A source tells Us Weekly one of the reasons their relationship works so well is because they're both independent and give each other space to miss each other. Hopefully Pete can patch things up with Colin Jost. Told you that the other day, that Colin and Pete are having a fairy fight of some sorts, apparently. Peacock is staging the world's first wildlife reality competition show. Why are they making the Hungry Games Alaska's Big Bear Challenge? I don't know. Why am I telling you about it? It's narrated by Rhys Darby from Flight of the Conchords. Do you hear the rumble coming into my voice? That's because I recorded Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back to back to back without any beverage here. Got a little DJ fuzz on the voice now. The Hungry Games Alaska's Big Bear Challenge follows the bears of Alaska's Katami National Park as they bulk up for winter hibernation. Over 150 days, the bears battle the elements and each other, using brains and brawn to consume 3 million calories and gain up to 200 pounds in nature's real-life survival show. Unbeknownst to the bears, their progress is being tracked and ranked for a TV audience with a narration that combines fascinating facts with color commentary from Rhys Darby. Okay, that sounds really expensive to make. Why did you make that? Blonde Medicine. They've been putting out a lot of cool comedy albums. They've announced a debut album from Jeff Tice. Jeff spells his name Geoff. The album title, Jokes with a G. That'll be out May 17th. Jeff got into comedy 12 years ago. He went to an open mic and bombed, but never looked back. He's a staple of the Denver scene. He's open for Nate Bargatze, Dimitri Martin, the Sklar Brothers, and others. Jokes with a G is a collection of self-deprecating stories about being a new parent, second weddings, and his dad's drunk late-night calls. So this is where the festival stuff used to go. As I warned you, the podcast is a little shorter when I'm not playing a million clips. We're back down to the 12-minute-ish range. The 800-pound gorilla sent some folks out to catch a couple shows at Moontower. For Nicole Byer, the gorilla says Nicole's set ran a wide range of topics. The new hour featured jokes about meeting Tom Cruise, not knowing John Cena's catchphrase, what new fat is, loving porn, and being single. She also showed off her crowd work chops. They also sent somebody to see Joe Pera. Unlike Byer, Pera wasn't matching the audience's energy, or even a quarter of it, timid and humble. This was the Joe Pera that we came to see. He's the definition of quirky. Pera ended the show by talking the audience to sleep in what has become a signature bit. Pera did not succeed in putting the audience to sleep. Instead, he gave us a show that the crowd would certainly recall for years to come! And that is your comedy news for today. If you enjoy the program, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. See you tomorrow.